All right, if you guys missed Tuesday night's Race Chat Live, you guys missed a new terminology that I was just introduced to, Bubba tired. If you don't want to know what that means and what the Race Chat Live crew had to say about it, check out this clip.
But yeah, so there was an altercation between Eric Amarola and Bubba Wallace. Maybe one of you guys can better inform me of what that altercation was actually about. I don't think Denny really hit much on it. I'm Bubba, what's it called, Bubba tired. Like, I'm exhausted with the, like what Denny said, I'd much rather be talking about the good run that he's been on versus all this middle finger shit and whatever the hell else, the altercation with him and Eric Amarola. If Eric Amarola felt the need to stand his ground, by God, let him do it. Thank goodness it was, I'll just leave that comment alone. But, I mean,
Eric is not known to be a hothead, okay? But according to what Eric had to say, he said that he was basically trying to give Bubba all the space he could, and during one passing episode, and on the next lap, I guess Bubba flipped him off. So during the rain delay, Eric went over there to ask him, why were you flipping me off? And apparently, according to what Eric said, Bubba started cussing him out and, getting aggravated with him. And Eric said he had enough and said he wasn't going to put up with it and pushed him. That's Eric's side. Bubba basically blew it off.
Of course.
Right. So, like I said, Eric is not known to be a hothead, so he had to have been plenty pissed. So
I'm sure he was just confused.
I tend to
why
believe.
Did I get that?
I tend to believe what Eric has to say because, again, he's not known as a hothead. We know Bubba is.
But what's so bad about getting the finger? Why do people get so mad about getting the finger these days?
He wasn't mad. He just went. He went to ask him why, because he said he was trying to give him all the room he could.
Yeah. All he wanted was a simple explanation. I don't think he seemed offended. He was just trying to figure out why, because Amarola had his side of things. But I agree with Denny. Bubba needs to figure out how to chill his attitude down because his out-of-the-car attitude versus in-the-car attitude is, I feel like his out-of-the-car attitude is starting to rub off to him when he's inside the car. And if Bubba, and obviously if Denny's speaking out about it, either Denny's trying to really care about Bubba so he can keep him long-term, or or Bubba keeps doing what he's doing, Denny's going to start giving him the boot.
Well, you know what? And I hate to bring this up, but all of the other crap that Bubba's been involved in, if he wants to be taken seriously, he really needs to check his attitude. If he wants to be taken seriously as a NASCAR driver, he needs to watch his actions outside of the car, like this incident. Like you said, Denny said, look at what he's doing in the car, not outside of the car. But Bubba's got to be cognizant of what he does outside of the car, how that reflects on his how people perceive him.
Don't y'all think that the old Bubba was a very likable guy, and this new Bubba really kind of sucks?
Yes.
If you go back to his Truck Series career, even when he was developmental driver for Roush Racing, crying out loud, he was a likable guy. He always made you smile. He always had the right things to say in victory lane or when he was being interviewed. But it seemed like this whole fiasco that happened in 2020 really just changed his whole, perception of his career. Look, and let's not forget that there could be blood between those two, right? There could still be some bad blood between those two. Bubba did replace Eric Amarola when Eric broke his back, and kind of, it cost him his ride. We kind of knew almost immediately that RPM was going to stay with Bubba, even if Eric come back, that it was probably going to eventually be Bubba's ride. And somehow or another, Danica Patrick steps away from racing at the right time, and Eric Amarola takes the Smithfield sponsorship with him over to the 10 car.
Yeah,
so there could be blood.
I don't.
There could be bad blood going between these two for a long time.
Well, that could be, but honestly, I don't know Eric personally, okay? But I don't see him as that type of person. I could be very wrong, but he doesn't come across that way.
No, he's always come across as a quiet guy, and Eric's been a likable guy himself. Bubba's kind of been aggravated here for the last few years. Definitely not the same Bubba that I feel like he was when he first come around and was getting into the sport. Of course, the pressure of his career probably has a lot to do with that, and he suffers depression and all. So I wish we could just get back more to Bubba that likes to play the drums and smile in front of the camera and be a positive leadership for this sport instead of constantly having all the negative stuff come out. I think in a way, I've always been this way. Once I see the world turn against something, I kind of don't want to be on that same side. So I feel like I've taken up for Bubba here lately more than what I have in the past, because it's just such an easy thing to do to harp on what Bubba did this week. And, we have so many great storylines